Welcome. In front of me is a Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a brief overview of the device itself. As you can see, this is the box that it comes in. Nothing really special, just a typical Samsung box with a super faint N20 on it with a pen. As you can see, only like the light reflects on it. So let's pop it open. It looks like there's something on here as well. So Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. Let's pop it open. Now this kind of fell out, which normally doesn't actually happen, but I guess it makes it easier. So in here we have just a typical paperwork that no one really cares about. So let's just drop that to the side, SIM eject tool, and that's about it. Nothing else in here, as you can almost see. So let's just drop that to the side. Then we get the phone itself. I'm gonna put it to the side for now. Paper, no one cares. A charger. As you can see, it's the Type-C to Type-C. Then we get the headphones, the AKG ones. They come with that Type-C port, as you can see, so they'll plug in the same port that you use for charging. And then we just have the Type-C charger cable. So that's about all we get in the box. Nothing really special, like I said. So let's just drop that. Or actually, before we do, let's also quickly check the charger. So this looks to be 25 watt charger. So nothing really mind-blowing here, honestly, for a flagship in 2020. I honestly am disappointed with the charger. It just kind of feels really like they really didn't care about the charger. But let's move to the phone itself. So as you can see, this is the phone. And the phone is a little bit more impressive looking. Now, I'm not sure how it will look on the camera, but honestly, in hand, using this, it looks way better than any kind of screenshots that you can find on the web. So, starting off, I'll also mention something before I actually start off. The difference between the 5, or not the 5G, but the Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra is a little bit in the size, and also the fact that the Ultra has a curved display, which looks really nice. It's nothing really like significant. There's no like massive curves. As you can see, if I move it to this side, you can barely, let me turn it off so you can barely see the display right here popping. And so this is like literally just the tiniest bit of the display being curved, but just the fact that it kind of like rounds up, it does feel nice in hand. So getting straight to it, this is a massive 6.9 inch display with a 1440p resolution. So more exactly, it's a 1440 by 3088 pixels. So that puts it at 496 pixels per inch. So this is a fairly dense display. Also, it has a 91.7% screen to body ratio, so this is a fairly minimal bezel display. As you can see, if I lift it up, there's almost no bezels visible, especially because of the curve. So you got the tiny bit on the bottom and just a even smaller bit on top. So the display looks really nice, that I have to say, and it's also an HDR10 Plus certified. So I mean, obviously it's a super or dynamic AMOLED. And also it has 120 Hz, so you're getting basically the best you can get out of the display. Now I believe there is one company, it was like ROG phones, that decided to push it to 144 Hz, something like that. And now honestly it's not going to be visible between those two. So if you're planning to go for the highest refresh rate or stuff like that, and the 120 or 144 is just a literal minuscule difference in terms of like how it will look. About 99% of the people probably will not see any kind of difference between those two, so 120 is really good here. Now also, it has a front and back Gorilla Glass, and it's not 5, and that's something that surprised me. It's a Victus. Apparently it's like their newer ones, a little bit more rigid than the 5, so they basically covered it front and back just to, I guess, call it safe. And apart from that, the frame of the device is a stainless steel. So those are the majority of the display. Now when it comes down to the cameras, at the front we have a tiny little cut out, and it's kind of weird that there is only one camera on the front, considering the S lineup had two of them in front, but it's still nothing really to laugh about. It is a, well, though the pixels on it are only 10 megapixels, and it's a wide sensor, but it does shoot at 4K 60 frames, which that kind of surprised me. Obviously it also shoots at 30 frames, 1080p 3060 is also a thing, but something that was weird was the fact that at 720p it only shoots at 30 frames. Not sure why they didn't go to 60, even though it's the lowest resolution you can drop on here, so kind of funny. But moving on to the back, we will have a bit of a more serious setup of cameras right here. So you can almost see if the light actually hits it correctly. There we go, that's probably a little bit better. So we have a whopping 108 megapixel wide sensor. Then we have a 12 megapixel periscope, which is this little thing on the bottom. Then 12 megapixel ultra wide, and also this thing right here that isn't looking like any kind of camera. Is a laser autofocus sensor, and that is because it's not a camera. And when it comes down to footages that you can shoot with this, you can shoot 8K apparently at 24 frames, so kind of a weird frameage. Kind of not really sure why they didn't go with something like a 30, but still 8K is, well, a huge resolution here. Then 4K, same as the front one, shoots at 30 and 60, 1080p shoots at 30, 60, and also something that was surprising, shoots at 120 Hertz or frames, which will work really well with the display itself because the display is 120. So you can shoot really, and I mean like really smooth footage with this one. And also you can do slow motion of 240, I assume. Now I'm completely kind of guessing with the slow motion here. It doesn't really specify anywhere what the frames of the slow motions are and also what the resolution of it is, but if it's anything like the Note20, the Note20 had 1080p at 240 and 720 at 960. So I assume they followed the schematic here as well to the same kind of, well, frames, but probably because it wasn't anything better than the Note20, they just didn't want to mention it, apart from just showing it like, hey, we can shoot at slow motion, just don't ask us what the slow motion is because it's nothing better than what the Note20 does. So if we go into the camera itself right here, you can go into the settings, so you can see right here we have the videos. So we have front. As you can see on the front, we have all of the things that I said, 60, 30, 60, 30, and also the funny one, 720p at 30. And for some reason, you cannot change the resolution of the of recording when it is set to it. So right now, because I'm on a rear one, it won't allow me to change it. I'm not really sure why that is. So basically, I would have to go back to photo. And now I should be able to change it, as you can see right here. And if we go to it, you can see there it is. There's the 4K, 60, 30, 1080p, 60, 30, 720, 30, and then we also have the 8K at 24 frames, and then also a couple additional ones. Now, if we go back, we also have the Pro video size, which this is where you can set the 1080p at 120 frames right here, so that's where you would choose it. And now this is only accessible in the Pro video, and from what I can see, the only benefit of it is just the resolution. Now if we go into here, you'd go to Pro video, and there we go. Now you do have a lot of settings here, as you would expect from a Pro video. And one thing that also surprised me here was the microphone. As you can see, we have the Omni, so this is omnidirectional, and it captures sounds from front and the back, but you can change it to only front, only rear, which is really something that I haven't seen on any other device that has been done. Also, it has a max or minute like capture, so you can, for instance, if you're in a loud environment, you can drop it a little bit, and this will make it, in this case, louder. So I will be way louder, or if we drop down by 12, it will try to equalize and eliminate noise in some way. So those are a couple different features that you can see in the video recording. And then moving to the basically last part of it would be just the specifications, pure specs of the device. So it comes with an Exynos 990, also has 8 GB RAM, really similar, or well, exactly the same as the Note 20. Then also has two versions of storage, so we have 256 and 512 with a UFS 3.0, so you will be getting those really smooth frame rates. Then in terms of the battery, it comes with 4500 mAh battery, fingerprint under the display obviously. Also has a DeX support, so you can turn it into a computer, as majority of the Samsung devices do. Then apart from that, the charging, as we already touched on, has a kind of mediocre 25-watt charging. I would really like to see that being higher, considering this is a flagship and devices like Xiaomi have 120 watts charging, so this is just being completely destroyed by such a charger. Then when it comes down to fast, they call it fast wireless charging, it's only a 15-watt charger. And also reverse wireless charging at 4.5 watts, so you can charge your earbuds if you have, just slap them on the back and it will be charging. And to finish it off, the device has an IP rating of 68, which makes it water and dust resistant, or proof. And now the last part of this would be the price of it, which costs $1,300 for 5G version, and I assume this is the price for the 256 GB version. And I believe there is also no way for you to expand the storage, but I'm gonna quickly check it so we can see. Nope, it actually looks like it does have an option to expand via the SD card. So if you want, you can go for the lower one, pay less, and then just slap an SD card that will probably be cheaper than buying the 512 gig version. And honestly, for the price, I mean, I kind of like this device. I do like Samsung, I will mention that. I wasn't very fond of the Note 20. In my opinion, that device was way too overpriced, and as a flagship device, apparently flagship, it skimped out on some features. It had something like a plastic back, which was just, to me, unacceptable for $1,000 price. This is even more expensive, and it has, well, almost no advantages over the other one. Just the curved display, the fact that it has 120 Hz display, some of the differences. The processor, the RAM is basically the same. The only difference also is in the camera and just the size of the device. And honestly, personally saying, I really like this device, but I wouldn't say that it is worth $1,300. So if you can get it for something like $1,000, then sure, yeah, I would say that this is then worth that money. But anything above it, I would say that you're kind of overpaying, and you're just kind of trying to deal with the greediness of the company trying to make extra buck by selling a premium device at two different ranges. So we have the $1,000 flagship that isn't really a flagship, doesn't come with all the specs of it, and then you have the actual flagship that, because, well, we can't price it the same, and this one is better, we're just gonna price it at $1,300. In my opinion, if they were going to price it about $800, $900 would have been good for the Note 20, and Note 20 Ultra should have been at $1,000. The overpricedness of this device is a little bit insulting, honestly, in my opinion. I don't really see who it is catering to. I do understand that, hey, we're making better devices, but it is just genuinely not worth that much. And other companies that are making budget devices or mid-range can prove that by just having a price range of this device, their devices specifically, be basically, well, a great example would be the Xiaomi, the Mi Note 10 Ultra. Basically really similar in terms of specifications. It's just running a Snapdragon, also has 120 Hz. It is basically the best device, at least it was. I'm not sure how it compares to the Note 20 Ultra, but when it came out not too long ago, it was the best device literally on the market. And the cherry on top was the fact that it was costing $780, which is way less than this. So If I have to pay for a device that basically does the same thing as some Xiaomi Chinese brand that was or is the best phone on the market, but costs less, why would I go for this? Cool, it has a pen, but that's about all it has in terms of a benefit between those. So personally, it's a really good device. As a conclusion to this, it is, there is no denying that, but I would say that it is not worth that much. Now, if you really want it, then I guess if you're really in the ecosystem and you enjoy Samsung devices, you like their UI and their products, then I guess there is a no-brainer. But if you're trying to get best device or best value for the money, this would not be the phone. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.